From the glimmering lights of Hollywood to the quiet countryside of upstate New York, few stories have stirred curiosity, debate, and fascination quite like the unexpected romance between Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson. For months, rumors swirled relentlessly, whispers of a surprising connection between two icons from completely different worlds. On one side was Pamela Anderson, the heartthrob whose presence dominated the beaches of Baywatch and the tabloids of the 90s. On the other was Liam Neeson, the stoic, powerful actor whose intensity made him one of Hollywood's most respected leading men. But it wasn't until recently that Pamela finally chose to break her silence, revealing the truth behind their brief but deeply intimate relationship. And today, we're unpacking everything, every moment, every rumor, every truth and denial, to bring you the most complete version of this story. To understand how this romance unfolded, we have to start with the beginning, a time before any cameras caught their chemistry, before fans started pulling screenshots from red carpets or analyzing body language. It began on the set of The Naked Gun reboot, a film that paired two unlikely actors together in a comedic setting neither of them was particularly familiar with. From day one, both Pamela and Liam found themselves disarmed by the other's energy. Pamela, known for her bubbly charm and spontaneity, was surprised to find that Liam had a playful side, one that the public rarely sees. Meanwhile, Liam, often perceived as serious and reserved, discovered in Pamela a softness and openness that he found grounding. Cast members and insiders later described their interactions as effortlessly warm, noting that even when the cameras weren't rolling, the pair naturally gravitated toward each other. As filming continued, their connection only deepened. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't flashy, it was subtle. Little moments like shared jokes during rehearsals, quiet talks between scenes, and comfortable silences where they simply sat near one another without saying a word. For two people who had spent their lives surrounded by noise, paparazzi, fans, critics, and pressure, the sense of calm they found together was refreshing. Pamela would later explain that Liam made her feel safe, a word she rarely used when describing men from her past. Liam reportedly told crew members that Pamela's lightheartedness brought him joy, calling her unexpectedly genuine. Everything changed after filming wrapped. With the press tour ahead, fans began noticing the way they looked at each other during interviews, warm, familiar, almost protective. During the London premiere, they walked the red carpet side by side, and the moment Liam kissed Pamela gently on the cheek sparked a wildfire of speculation. Tabloid headlines exploded, social media spiraled. Fans wondered whether they were witnessing the start of Hollywood's newest adult romance, one involving two stars who had already lived full, complicated lives. But the real story didn't happen on the red carpet. According to Pamela, the truest connection unfolded privately, far away from Hollywood chaos. After the press schedule wound down, Pamela accepted Liam's invitation to spend time at his quiet home in upstate New York, a home known for its peaceful surroundings, large gardens, and rustic simplicity. What followed was what Pamela called an intimate week, one filled with comfort and honesty rather than spectacle. They cooked meals together, watched old movies, walked outdoors, and spent long hours talking about life, loss, and the complicated realities of fame. Pamela later described the environment as something straight out of a Nancy Meyers film. Cozy, warm, romantic, without being forced. It was a space where both of them could just be themselves, away from expectations. For Liam, who has experienced deep tragedy in his personal life and kept his dating life private for years, those days with Pamela were said to be transformative. For Pamela, who has lived through tumultuous relationships and survived Hollywood at its most unforgiving, the quiet connection she experienced felt healing. But even in the midst of this serenity, both of them knew their worlds were too different to merge fully. Liam had commitments. Pamela had her projects. Both had families and responsibilities that weighed heavily on them. Still, their week together was real, something Pamela emphasized strongly when critics began suggesting their romance was nothing more than a coordinated publicity stunt. The accusations frustrated her deeply, She explained during a recent festival appearance that she would never participate in a fake relationship, emphasizing that love, to her, is something sacred and not something to be paraded around for promotion. The idea that her feelings, and Liam's, were being dismissed as marketing strategy felt deeply disrespectful. She reminded audiences that she has always been authentic, sometimes to her own detriment, and she would never jeopardize her integrity for attention. Pamela then revealed something many didn't expect. Their romance, as real as it was, didn't last beyond that week. There were no dramatic fights, no heartbreaking goodbye. Instead, it was a mutual understanding. Life pulled them in different directions. They kept in touch, occasionally meeting at events or checking in about work. Liam even attended a theater performance Pamela was involved in, showing quiet support from the audience. Pamela described that encounter with fondness, saying they shared smiles, warmth, and familiar comfort. But both understood that their romantic moment belonged to the past. What's perhaps most touching about Pamela's recounting is how she speaks of Liam even now, with admiration, gentleness, and no regret whatsoever. She calls him wonderful, supportive, and someone she deeply respects. Their connection didn't fade into awkwardness or discomfort. Instead, it evolved into a friendship built on understanding and kindness. Pamela even mentioned that she still feels protective of him, just as he once did for her. In an industry where relationships often end publicly and painfully, their quiet, mutual respect stands out. Pamela also used this moment of openness to talk about her own growth. She shared how, after decades of being portrayed as a symbol rather than a human being, she has learned the importance of privacy. She admits she is superstitious about love, worried that letting too many people into her personal life could extinguish something meaningful. She also explained that as she gets older, she prioritizes peace over passion, authenticity over attention. And while the public may still cling to the idea of Pamela Anderson as the glamorous figure she once embodied, she is now far more introspective, grounded, and thoughtful. As we step back and look at the entire story, one thing becomes clear. The romance between Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson wasn't a dramatic Hollywood affair. It wasn't a fairy tale with a wedding ending. And it wasn't a strategic publicity scheme. It was something far more human, a brief, beautiful connection between two people who found comfort in each other at exactly the right time, even if only for a moment. A reminder that love doesn't always need to be permanent to be meaningful. Today, Pamela and Liam remain friends, grateful for what they shared, and protective of the quiet bond between them. Their romance may have lasted only a week, but its impact clearly stayed with both of them. It was a spark, not a firestorm, and maybe that's what made it so special. In a world obsessed with big gestures and loud declarations, theirs was a whispered love, cherished quietly and remembered gently. And through Pamela's honest reflections, we now understand that sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that last just long enough to change you, but not long enough to consume you.